everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. Today I'll be talking about the treason trial of Aaron Burr, the context behind it, and how it affected and specified Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution for future treason trials. So in 1800, we have the election, and it's Jefferson v. Burr, and Jefferson wins by one vote because they had a tie earlier. So they were both Democratic Republicans. And then in 1804, we have Burr applying to become the governor of New York, but he loses, and he's mad about that, so he blames Alexander Hamilton for talking smack about him during the election. And so he challenges him to a duel. He's like, we're going to duel it out. That's what we do this generation, this century. And so this happens in April. In May, we have Burr meeting up with this man named James Wilkinson. James Wilkinson is in charge of the U.S. Army because he was recommended to Jefferson, who was the president, by Burr. Burr does not know at this time that Wilkinson is a spy for Spain, which is interesting. And then this is in May, and we have them talking, and people suspect that this is where the whole plan to invade Mexico comes from, which comes back later. In July, Hamilton is killed by Burr during the duel, and so people are mad at Burr, and so he has to leave. He leaves New York City. 1805 is him going from Georgia, Pittsburgh. He's a little bit penniless and politically powerless because of killing Hamilton. He goes down to the Ohio River, and then he goes to Blennerhassett Island. He meets up with the Blennerhassets, who are a wealthy family, and the man is a lawyer, and he makes friends, makes connections. He goes down to Nashville, meets General Andrew Jackson, and then he's just going around in the western area, and then he goes down to Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, speaks badly about the federal government. In 1806, Jefferson says that Burr's having a plan, and he's mad about that. He's like, Burr has a Western plan, and he's like, guys, stay away from that, because Jefferson saw that as a threat to the slave states he represented. And he's like, okay, Burr's doing something sketchy down there. So then he has people look out for him. In 1806, after all those connections that Burr made, contacting prominent people, he sends a letter in cipher to General Wilkinson, who was his ally before, in New Orleans, announcing he had gotten the goods, basically. He had gotten enough manpower and stuff. Now, no one's saying that he's trying to make these states separate away from the U.S., but that's what Jefferson saw, right? Everyone else thought he was just trying to invade Mexico. He's apprehended, and Mexico's under the control of Spain, so because Wilkinson was a spy for Spain, he actually messages Jefferson, and he's like, here, you guys can get him. That's why Wilkinson is on Jefferson's side rather than Burr's. Luther Martin was a lawyer. Herman Blennerhassett was also the lawyer mentioned previously. And once he's taken, there's not that much evidence. When John Marshall asks for some subpoena, that's not given by Jefferson. Jefferson's just saying stuff. He's just saying stuff. The letters that were used as evidence was not really evidence, because some parts were ripped out, and so eventually Article 3, Section 3 is what John Marshall decides to finish off with. He's like defining treason, and it's saying you're actively levying war, and then giving aid to enemies, and then you need 2 witnesses saying, okay, this person is actually actively doing treason, and a confession by the defendant. There was none, and that is how Jefferson, who kept pushing for Burr to be guilty, that didn't work out for him, and Burr was freed. He was announced as not guilty by John Marshall. So, because of this case, treason was specified, the definition of treason, and it basically helped the federal government for future reference. This was also a case where we have Jefferson pushing against the judiciary, and he did try previously, though that's another case, to get some power over the judiciary. So it's sort of like actively making the lines between the branches stronger, and that is one of the reasons I thought this trial was pretty cool. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day.